I think Imtiaz is having a Chamkila day today, and we will talk about how Chamkila is day. The second trailblazer is a person who's given India a voice globally when it comes to media and entertainment. She stands as a global powerhouse of creating stories. The corporation, the streaming service she belongs to, has completely changed the way we look at content around us. And these stories are million and billion. She sits with them in her pocket and thank you so much. Please have a seat. Okay, guys. So let's first congratulate them for never would have gotten made if it was another time. It's also the time that we belong to, which is this consciousness that both of them, trailblazers, have. Let me start with you, Monica. Today, when we look at the slate and the tapestry of Netflix India, it's also stories which are local and they're going global. There is a conscious effort to position India right in the middle of the storytelling narrative of the world. When Netflix started about more than a decade ago, things were different. And within the next 2-3 years, you started to see that change, which is now unleashing into this big tapestry. Tell us a little about it and how you are able to get these gems out every now and then.
I think this moment is thrilling where we are right now in the journey of storytelling across the world. We have never experienced a time when a story coming from any part of the world actually has a global audience, and that audience is just waiting for something to completely blow their mind. And here is a wonderful confluence of creativity and technology that has really given the opportunity to creators to not be limited to where they are. And the biggest creative leap in this has actually been, the resurgence of hyperlocal. What we used to say, our stories are meant for a country, our audience, and yes, they are. For us at Netflix, it's so important to make stories for our audiences in India. But nothing stops those amazing, beautiful stories, where someone like a creator like Imtiaz, with his powerful voice, can actually explore language, culture, music, identity, an artist's journey, and can make it in the way that he had imagined it till the last minute of that film and bring it, and then it is in the hands of an audience that is not just limited to valuing it one way or another. Can I reach that story? The story is reaching them. And I think that is the most beautiful thing. And I feel that for us at Netflix, just being in this moment and being able to enable such culture defining storytelling from India to India and the world is, I think, the best thing that's happened.
But one instance, binge watch, syndrome, which is obviously working very well, but you are creating stories intrinsic to an audience, which is ours, and yet there's a global perspective to it. How do you balance these two approaches together?
The most honest truth is that you don't think about a global audience. There isn't something called a global film or a series or a documentary. There's nothing called global. It's the audience that with, as they discover and they love and they talk to people, they create a global phenomenon. You cannot, sitting anywhere in any part of the world, say, oh, I'm going to create a global film. There's nothing like that. Even Hollywood has realized that there is nothing like that. More and more what's working on Netflix is these stories that are so true to their local context, to their country, to their language, to their culture. And when they can universally appeal, when they touch you, when they touch, the people who are watching, and then, the conversation builds. So we don't set out to look for anything global, but the more true we are to our context, to our story, to the creator's vision, and we enable that, magic happens. And I always feel, success is not something magical or mysterious. It's really the result of consistency, of bringing the best, sort of intention to something and valuing really what the vision is. And like for us, it's really important to do that.
I mean, that's a very interesting and a very magical thing to say, to be able to respect the vision of the creator and the creator. I mean, Chamkila was a story that probably was very difficult to tell. I mean, imagine a folk singer scorned by society, the politics of the time tearing him apart. He's known for things which today we will say, oh my God, what is this that he's singing about? And yet you go ahead and tell this story, Imtiaz, with such ease, with such beauty. And again, one rootedness of the core of our storytelling, which is India. Tell us how this journey was.
Um, to begin with, I feel thank God for the universality of mankind. It's like when you are in a queue in London Eye and you see families from all kinds of countries and the kids pestering the mums in the same way in a Scandinavian family, just like an Indian family. It's all the same. You realize that there is something which is universal. And to discover that, just like the great saints of India and Kabir used to say, you have to actually look at yourself. And at least as a storyteller, I don't have to worry about what everybody will like. I mean, I can worry about it, but the way to find it really is to find out what I would like. And specifically in terms of a storyteller, to figure what I have to say, what do I have to give or offer. And as Monica very rightly said, there is no universal story, but the story has to be mine in some way for me to tell it. Um, Similarly, there is no global audience. Everybody is a person, and every group is a certain group with a certain sensibility. So, I think as far as Shankila was concerned, I could attach to a lot of things in his life and in the life of Amarjot and in the life of this moving caravan, which in a very different way, Monica and I and people like us are also a part of. We see art, we get on stage, we have a trail of performance, and we see what that does to the world. And sometimes we get from the world conflicting opinions. We feel that we are creating something which is getting a very diverse view. And here we see a certain face of the world. These things happen to all of us. At some points of time, we feel that there is some hypocrisy that we have to go through with. These are the points that attracted me to Chankila, and that's what I try to
But
do.
India, tell me, in the format of storytelling and creating films, there's always this question: what is popular appeal? What will people like? There always used to be a given formula. This will work, this won't work. But stories like Chankila, stories that we see like Black Warrant on Netflix, they actually reform that logic of what was called the given understanding of the audience. So, what is it? Are we actually bursting out from that traditional formatting of creativity? Something else which has become inspiring. I want both of you to respond to that.
Well, I was just looking at Black Warrant, which like blew everybody's mind recently. I feel at every point of time, Monica was like, ever since I've been in the formula is not working. And people said, we don't know what is working, we don't know what kind of film will work, nothing is working. So we came in and out of desperation, we said, we know. Give us a chance to make films. And, we did what we could. So again, the same story, that it's not working, and thank God that it's not. But Black Warrant was, I guess, I don't know how you approach it, but then when I go onto Netflix, there is so much, right? There is so much. It's like a buffet which has so many items that you might just feel sated looking at it, you know. So I have to decide in a microwave of what to watch. She has to decide in a microwave of what to put on the table, which will break through. So I think this is an instinctive decision that an audience member makes. But let's hear from you how you decide.
It's a the simplest question and the hardest question to answer. I don't think there is a formula again to making that decision. You just know it. And I'll go back to Chamkila actually, Imtiaz, because uh, Chamkila, when the conversation happened, you had a script, and what was on the page was really very engaging, but half the film was in Imtiaz's mind.
Yeah, that's true actually.
He was, and there is something that we say when you feel at Netflix. There's a term that we use when you feel that something is uncomfortably exciting. You know, it's risky in a way, but you know that it could get loved by a lot of people, and you feel that urgency to put that story out. Like there's a feeling that you get, which you can't define. It's the feeling that a creator gets. It's a feeling that an audience may have when they are watching. The same feeling a creative exec gets when they're reading something and they're seeing the vision of the creator and they're thinking that, my God, this is something which is special. And yes, I can't see everything, but this can deliver a magic which can go beyond and really become something that even you can't control. And that's the feeling that we had, when we saw it. It wasn't an easy decision. I won't, like, since you asked about how does the decision happen, because a lot of times you feel, there are so many safe things around you and very well written safe things, and you're like, yeah, this is reading good and it's safe, and it'll like do its job. But then when you have to say, yes, this is good, but I'm doing something else, I'm picking something else, because there is something in it that you can't define, you can't put a finger on, and that when you get that tingling
Yeah.
sensation and you know that you're onto something and you're scared, you're nervous, but you're also excited, you have to go for it.
So this instinctiveness that you're talking about, right? You're talking about how instinctively you react to stories. There is also a certain comfort level which is coming in telling uncomfortable stories.
Yeah.
Our stories are more real, our characters are, and I'm going to use this word and not be judged, uglier. By uglier, I mean the hourglass figure, the heroine, and the gun-trotting, the gun-trotting hero with 45 goons, gone in a minute, is suddenly started to looking redundant, which means what are we exploring around us? Are we becoming more sensitive as a society? Have we started to explore more when it comes to storytelling? And is that what is becoming the reflection of India?
Well, I feel when you were saying this, I would like to take all of us in this time and this moment of opportunities and place ourselves in the whole history of storytelling in a country like India. We have perhaps the oldest and definitely the most profound culture of storytelling. As we were discussing, and I can't emphasize this enough, that we learn everything from storytelling. We learn the code of conduct, our belief systems, everything is based on storytelling. And the profundity of it. I mean, I need not go on and talk about Mahabharata or the Bhagavad Gita, but you will see that if we are coming from there, and if each one of us understands that kind of profound and realistic storytelling, multi-layered storytelling, then actually much of what we have been able to write and produce in cinema has been just like somewhere getting there, but not quite there. I think we have to go back in order to go front. As far as the Indian context of storytelling is concerned.
I honestly feel that there's always, and like Imtiaz is going back in time from a storytelling perspective, I feel that whenever there's a shift in medium, new medium is coming, um, there's always this feeling that, oh my God, what are we losing? I think as human beings, we tend to focus on what are we losing more than what are we gaining. So I think uh, earlier, when you would tell a story, it would only have a certain amount of access. No matter what the creator would try, no matter what, any medium would try. I mean, and I hope to God that we expand the number of theaters and all kinds of, because we are a large country and people enjoy storytelling and we should tell more, and we have a very rich history and culture of that. But I feel that the moment that we are in right now is the moment where every person out there who has a story has the ability to tell that story. Everyone has a phone, everyone has some device or the other, most people, and it's about the quality of stories that we are telling. From an India perspective, we are such a large country with so many different kinds of stories, whether we take inspiration from one thing or another, whether we look at the world and we say that, and by the way, Indian audiences, as we have discovered on Netflix, are one of the most experimental, diverse, curious, and amazing audiences. I think as streamers, storytellers, creators, we have to use that opportunity enough. Any story which is a good story, the one of the first audiences that laps it up across the world is Indian audiences. I don't think we give them credit enough.
So,
And
so that's a very valid thing. What about the Indian diaspora? We do know that a lot of content from India is consumed globally by also the diaspora audience, which is very much a part of the global bouquet of the unraveling of the India story. How do you think today, with realistic stories, with more and more things being, said and spoken about what's happening in India, all these amazing stories which are going out, is that diaspora also changing in its own insight and in its inquiry, or is it also breathing along with this wave of waves and the wave of storytelling that we are talking about?
I think if I can answer it very shortly, Indian diaspora actually, okay, this is anecdotal. Don't hold me to data on this, but I feel that the Indian audiences in India are changing faster versus the diaspora. The diaspora watches a lot of Indian content, but there was a time when the diaspora was the key bridge to watching. But I think the way we are seeing Indian stories, uh, working in Spanish, in Portuguese, in Arabic, in Thai, in so many different languages that we sub and dub in, and we see across the world. And last year we've had an Indian title in the global non-English top 10 every single week, and working in multiple languages in dubs and subs. That tells you that it is beyond the diaspora, and I think that's very that's an incredible high for me, for my team, for the creators that we work with. I mean, Imtiaz
This
went
is your
to
favorite story that you
Melbourne
want to
for
tell for the diaspora, for the audience?
the award in Melbourne for Chamkila.
Oh yeah, of course. But not only that, Monica, I would also like to say that when we decided to make Chamkila a direct-to-digital film, that was a time of consternation for all of us because we hadn't done it before. But the, there are terrific advantages. There are so many things that I learned. And it's not as though every film that I make will be direct to digital. I mean, there is, but as she said, there is opportunity of telling a story in the way that it deserves to be told because there is like more vehicles, there are more, and everything should grow, I feel. And reaching across to the diaspora and to an internet to various groups of audiences abroad. People that traditionally don't watch Indian movies has become possible, and even in Melbourne, as she rightly said, there were awards that we received for Chamkila, and that's actually quite nice and overwhelming. And it's not, now this is happening so frequently. It's not that one incident when Raj Kapoor's car was lifted and taken from place to place in Russia, but that kind of visibility is now available. And therefore, I feel more as a maker, we have to figure what is precious in us, what is unique to us, and that has to come across in our stories.
I want to go on talking for the rest of the evening. I'm being signaled for being out of time, but before we leave, there is this one dialogue from Chamkila which is like a value for life.
Oh,
जब तक हम हैं स्टेज पर रहें आगे Mohit, the producer of Chamkila is right here.
my God, the
My
writer of
batchmate from
Chamkila
college,
is.
Mohit Chaudhary, are you here?
Actually, that's where it ends.
तब तक हम हैं स्टेज पर हैं जीते जी मर जाएं इससे तो अच्छा है कि मर कर भी जिंदा रहें. So this is what it be. Our stories never die. We are all finite human beings, mortal, but stories are immortal, and that is what the beauty and the celebration of storytelling is to this beautiful country and to the beautiful people that we are called India. Thank you so much, Monica Shaikh. Thank you, Imtiaz Ali, and thank you for being such an attentive audience. This doesn't end here. You have many more trailblazers coming after us. And I'm sure Laura is going to announce the next panel. Thank you, Imtiaz.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an excellent session there. Thank you so much to Danny and her panel. That brilliant update, exploring the depths, as I mentioned, of art, culture, experience. And yes, we continue now with my next panel, ladies and gentlemen. And India, of course, has a very rich.
My dad has a huge construction business, and it was extremely exciting to take it. How much money did it cost? How? You're looking fantastic. You never looked this thin. I used to. जब तो मुझे सैलरी के लिए रोटी में रोटी देती थी अरे यार आप हमें रोल दे दीजिए हमारे वेटर थैंक यू सो मच माय प्लेजर एनी टाइम यू आर द
And now, yes, yeah, to the intersection of art, success, and global influence. So to tell us more, I'm now going to hand over back to Ben. Thank you so much.
Really fascinating panel, thank you, Laura. Laura's right, a look now at how creativity and business go. Meeting people, it's about networking, so you are very welcome. Excellent piece.
Networking. That's catching up.
Do you want to simply be here in the middle? Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I want to get as much as possible with you while we have you, because I'd like to see us releases and revenue subscriptions. How would you define success in what you do these days?
See, there are different metrics of success for anyone. We at Balaji and me as a content provider think that success comes in 3 or 4 ways. One, you have to have your economics
Drive that it has profitability in the company. You have some kind of impact with your content that creates a certain kind of a fan base for your content. And another form of success is that you get recognized. by awards, by countries, by people for taking your local stories global. So all these ways I think can be in Bangladesh are great ways to be successful.
What is the price? You have a project. How do you define the success of that project? Is it critical acclaim? Is it figures? Is it financial success?
There's no critical acclaim unless there is financial buoyancy in a project because I run a public limited company. The subjective parts of it can always be argued, but the actuals and numbers never lie. Have to be met with when you are keeping the health of your company at the forefront. But having said that, I do think that you can marry both. And that's where the budgeting and the planning of films matter. If you have an extremely amazing story and you want to tell it, and you feel that it doesn't have a really wide audience, you plan it in such a way that one, you bundle it with your bigger, more commercial projects. Two, you plan it that you decide to make it in a very tight budget. And three, you see to it that you find various forms of exploitation so that that content sees the day of night, sees the light of day. So if all these things are met with, then you definitely want to support some stories that need to be made. But mostly you have to think if you run a public limited company, how to make the economics work.
How do you stay true to that idea of story? You want to tell stories from here and tell those stories right around the world. It's very difficult sometimes, isn't it, to make those stories translate to a wide audience. You look at really what some of the streaming giants have done here in India, and they come here and they're finding it quite difficult to make a success of local stories. Is that because they're trying to find one size fits all? That one story will translate around the world, just not into different languages?
So
Why do
it's
they
been
find it
our
difficult?
30th year in this industry. We've always made local stories and connected with the local audience, who happen to still be our first audience and the main audience that we cater to. How does the story go global? Well, relatability. We all, in fact, actually just humans. And for a world that actually eventually the political dynamics, the love dynamics don't change for anyone. It all remains almost homogeneous in the world. It actually means that somewhere we haven't taken our own stories that seriously that we take the giant leap. And I think we are at the fulcrum of taking that huge leap. Our currency is strong. India has select stories, and will it connect internationally? Will it be a global success? Well, time will tell. Or it is when it will happen more than if it will happen.
And I think it's so true that humans at the centre of it straight away there is a connection. Do you worry that risk taking?
हाँ बस ड्रॉप ही ले रहा हूँ हेलो फातिमा जी हाँ वहाँ भी लेंगे पहले यहाँ पे ले तो फिर वहाँ लेंगे हर जगह लेंगे यहाँ पे फातिमा जी यहाँ पे आइए उस तरफ ले लो
So come to India. We do the background. अच्छा हाँ
पानी मोनिशा मोहित
तो फोन नहीं उठाना ये मेरा नंबर बदल गया
किसका किया
हाँ
मेरा
कसम
फोन See you. Bye. Bye. All the best. Likewise.
You're an inspiration. Thank you so much. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
हमारे तुम्हारी सेशन में I'll get to whisk you away for 36 hours right before you go on the main stage. Can we do that after the session? Yeah. If you want. Yeah. After the session and then go away. Yes. Yeah. Just that's the last thing in mind.
यहाँ पे प्रतिमा जी यहाँ पे चलो
Stars will charge lesser. Eventually, those movies will do well. The buyers will increase, and cycle continues.
Do you really believe stars will charge less?
They have more. They have no movies.
I mean, there is a question that and maybe you've answered there, that is there a fundamental reset that is now due? The economics that once were just do not exist anymore, and everybody at every level in that movie or television making process needs to reassess what they can charge, what they can budget. I wonder, I'm not going to pronounce the local name of it, but you're potentially about to re-release your big hit from the time saying that.
Yeah.
Why, and what's different this time?
I'm not re-releasing, I'm remaking. Yeah, so this is probably the biggest TV show I ever made. It brought me back, gave me identity. And identity, then I had to fight a lot to make other things, but it became what I was known for. But because of my problems as a production house and a company with the other conglomerate, the big corporate, the show on the program ended 160 episodes before it completed its big 2000. And it's emotional. It's a part of our, creative process. We are emotional entrepreneurs. A dichotomy we live with every day. And the emotion, the love we have for this program has brought everyone who's attached to it back to complete just those 150 episodes to reach that 2000. The show deserves that.
It does, it really does. What will you do differently, do you think? Because a lot has changed at that point.
That's the problem now. A lot of people have seen it, a lot of people have not seen it. And I had so many conversations. Should we even do it? We'll ruin the brand if we are not able to be successful. And what we believe was there's an authentic nature to the show, which clearly is not the kind of shows that are being made now. And if we slip from our authenticity, we might not cater to anyone. So let's just do what we believe in. Give it that 150 episodes of nostalgic, not reenactment, but a nostalgic form of storytelling that people remember their younger days, my younger days for sure, and come back just for that, and not make it a part of the number game, not make it struggle to be a form of content that is being made today. So it's like we decided to be true to its nature.
So just between all those friends here and the people watching online, give us a little spoiler, what might we expect? What can you tell us? Your secrets say.
We're bringing politics into entertainment.
Dangerous combination.
Or a politician.
Or a politician. Okay, you heard it here first, folks. Ekta, so nice to see you. I know you have to dash, so I'm so grateful to have you here and to spend some time.
Thank you
really
so
great.
much. Thank you.
Ekta Kapoor, thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
You can hear me on this. Wonderful. Ekta, thank you so much. Really grateful for your time. I'll be looking out for it. I want to see that combination of politics and
So a child wasn't as protected as they are right
It's
now.
not the case.
Yeah,
Today,
it's
because
not the case
You
today.
went on to act in a lot of television serials. You went on to act in a lot of commercials, if I'm not mistaken. This was your choice after having given up when you were a kid. Is that something you said? Okay, you know what? I can do this as an adult. It doesn't mess with my brain that much.
Yeah.
You love acting. You love performance.
Yeah. No, as a child I hated it. So then, but I was not good in studies. So I couldn't understand anything that I was feeling. So I was like, shit, now what do I do? I'm not good at anything.
Try sport. Try a sport.
Please,
Try
I couldn't
wrestling.
do it. I couldn't even run properly. I was the last person in a race. So that was not my strength. Then I went to college. Somehow I managed, like I got about 50% in my 10th. Then I went to Mithbai College, and there are these college festivals. So when I went there and I joined art department, and that's when I realized that I could paint or I could get into this world or this field. And then I told my parents, and my parents were like, "What is this? What arts do you want to do? Acting has so much money. Why would you want to do this? Everybody wants to be an actor." And I was like, "Yeah, but I want to be an artist. I want to be a painter. I want to explore fine arts." But eventually, my parents couldn't really afford it. When you want to apply to an art school, you need to have a profile. You need to have stationery. Even an application requires around 1,000 rupees. And you're not applying to just one college. You're applying to multiple colleges. So at that time, we couldn't afford it. Then I started doing TV again. And I started auditioning a lot. And I realized that actually, I feel like I'm at home. And I'm enjoying it. And the struggle is there, I'm not getting the roles. But in that moment of say 1 minute, when I'm in front of this small camera, in this small room where there is no director, I'm really in the moment. And I realized that, oh no, I actually want to do this. So
I mean, you did dabble, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Something that you were thinking of pursuing at some point.
So basically, when I was not getting acting jobs, I was like, shit, I have to do something now. What do I do? So I joined this small company and I was assisting a photographer, and they would cut wedding trailers and they would shoot weddings. So I was an assistant there. So I've gone to a lot of rich weddings and shot a lot of people and enjoyed great food, and they were marrying in these 7-star, 5-star hotels, and I had a great crew. But it was very interesting. I have a lot of stories.
I'm assuming that was a side gig while you
Yeah,
were
while I was
auditioning for
auditioning.
parts, and you constantly auditioning for parts, and
Yes.
boom, you land what becomes India's most successful film ever. I don't think any film has passed 1,000 crore. No film has. What was that like? How do you manage to soak in that level of success? That is genuinely your first film as an adult actor, before the screen, before a wide audience. What was that moment like?
When you're struggling, you think that there is going to be this one moment, one film that is going to change everything. So for me, fortunately, that was done. Yeah, fortunately.
Yeah.
Because what happens is when you're struggling, you would take any job that you get. If I would have gotten some other film, I would have done it. I was lucky that they were auditioning regular people and not actors or not people from the industry. So in that sense, they opened up gates for a lot of newcomers. And when we auditioned, and it wasn't like I gave my audition and got the film. There were multiple rounds. There were physical tests, there were screen tests, there were other stamina tests, and then wrestling and everything. We were auditioning for good 2 months. And then eventually when we got it, I couldn't believe it. And then I was like, should I be feeling a little more excited? Shouldn't I be feeling something more?
Yeah.
Because I got the film. But then I started stressing about, oh no, am I going to be good at it? Am I not going to be good at it? But once the film got done and there was a screening happening before the film release, I started crying. Because I thought that I am giving the worst performance of the world. They gave me an opportunity and I ruined it for them.
You could tell how amazing the film is and how things kind of worked out really well.
No, I was what about
You're just looking at yourself and
I was looking
like
at
what you
myself
saw.
and I was like, oh my god, I've ruined them. I've destroyed their film. I think I gave myself too much of an importance and I didn't believe in myself. I always I have a lot of self-doubt, and back then even more because I was very young. But that film changed.
Please talk about
It
session.
opened up a lot of doors for me. Now I have a choice.
Photography career.
If the script comes, I can say yes or no to a script. And that's a privilege.
But I'm interested in what that person, when you see that level of commercial success, those number of eyes looking at you
One
as an
film
adult across this time. Like for instance,
that changed your life.
blockbuster in China. Did you visit China?
I did.
And what was that like?
It was amazing. They recognized me.
Which type of genre you wanna do?
Up until now, the auntie in my next building didn't recognize me. Now the whole world does. So it was very, it was extremely humbling.
What do you think was in that film that really
Who's
connected
your
you?
best co-actor in male?
You know, China is as diverse as India. There are many dialects. Region-wise, also, it's very similar. It's got a lot of different dialects, different food, different culture. So even India, the society is very similar to ours. So there is a lot of patriarchy. There is a lot of taboo around fathers having a certain kind of a relationship with daughters. There are certain roles that are defined for women, and that's what they're supposed to play. So I think in that sense, it really touched with their hearts too.
Right, so there's an Asian connect
Asian
and a rural connect
Yes.
Asia-wide
Yes.
in that sense. And you get this kind of success and you can't possibly better it in terms of, and I'm sure you had lots of scripts. There's nothing you can pick bigger and more grand than Pugs of Hindustan, my friend. I mean, it's got Amitabh Bachchan, it's got Amir Khan, first time together, it's got Yash Raj Films backing it. And it did not turn out
It
well.
So it's so interesting because I got to see this,
Yeah.
and then I got to see
You
that.
can't get higher than that,
You can't get higher than that.
and you can't possibly get lower than this because of the
And because of
expectations
the
attached.
expectation.
Right.
But the expectation is on them, not so much on me.
Okay.
I made it about myself a lot more than I
Did
thought.
you?
I think so. I thought, now my career is over. I won't get any more work. I did lose out on some projects.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In what sense?
In the sense that I had signed 3 films.
Okay.
And one day I wake up and in the newspaper I see, Acha, the shooting of this film is starting with this actor.
Oh, damn, they can do that to you?
Of course they do that. Of course. Nobody calls you and tells you, oh, you're not there in the film anymore. They're just.
But you just said you signed a film.
Yeah.
You signed a film because you signed a contract, right?
Yeah. And they didn't even give me the token money. So that was sad.
And that's not just one film.
I lost
3 films straight.
Yes. Yes.
Because you were not lucky enough for them, or you were not suddenly not talented enough for them.
I don't know, but it's okay. I understand their mindset. See, if I'm a producer, I would want the best actors, I would want the best director, best everything, where I could get the return. The money that I put in, if I don't get the return. So why would I invest? There are very few makers or producers who can see beyond that, who could believe in an actor or a maker. There are very few people. But otherwise, I do understand the mindset. I am not a resentful person.
I'm sure now looking back, it's unethical, it's wrong, and it certainly disturbs you, frazzles you. Did that happen?
For a very small,
Okay.
for a very short time. Because I think I'm a little more understanding to the inner workings of the industry. And I understand it's not just about an actor and a director or the audience. There is a lot of money involved, and there is somebody who's putting the money. And maybe that person doesn't believe in it. So it's okay.
Padma, I see work, wait around and see things what they are, but for someone who started out as a child actor and became an overnight sensation as an adult, as a rock star, and the biggest Indian movie has ever been, up to even now, what have you understood about show business? What have you understood about, I'll get to the act later, what have you understood because the rules and that's how it works. I mean, you can read books on it, but you can't learn it the way you have because it's literally everything that you
महेश तो जाएगा पक्का है बाकी पता नहीं किसको उठाऊंगा
So it's not that this is how it has worked for one person, it never work for the other person. Nothing is permanent. Your highs are not permanent, your lows are not permanent. You can't get too attached to fame, and you cannot get too attached to your failures also. Your work is not your identity, you're more than that. I think that realization needs to happen because otherwise you make your work your reality, your identity, once that is taken away, say if tomorrow you meet with an accident, then what? You don't have the grades that you have. You won't get the roles that you have. So one needs to realize you need to build on more skills and learn more, read more, meet more people so that you can do that.
And we also realize that when you sign a contract, make sure that it's binding, and that they can't just sack you because they didn't feel like
That's there, but then, I mean, it's okay. There are a lot of unethical things that happen. There are a lot of films you do where there are no paperwork, but they give you 100% bonus. So there are people like that also, and there is nothing that you can do about it. I mean, it's unethical, but then I think now people are much more aware. The producers guild is much more stronger. So there are, laws in place now.
for someone who started out acting.
Actually, I think it has been one of the most amazing experience of my life as an actor. Because up until then actually, I used to feel that the way I performed was wrong. Because whenever I do a film, I am only acting between an action and a cut. I do not take the character back home. I do not sit with it. I'm not that person. So, because a lot of other actors romanticize the idea of, oh, I've become this person and now I'm going to live like that for a year and now I'm depressed and I'm sad and falana dhimka. So, I went to
I'm taking it now.
No.
I mean, they lose their mind every film they were to
no,
become that person.
really go through that process, and I think I'm nobody to judge that. It's not for me. Some people approach it like that, some people approach it in another way. So when I went to Adi Shakti, they said, why is it that every time an actor plays a sad, depressed, or a negative role, they take the emotional? But when you're playing a comic, or when you're playing a happy, romantic film, why aren't you like that?
All the time, right?
Why are you not carrying that emotion? Because we love to be sad. Because we thrive in being depressed and sad and angry. So, उनका फंडा ये है कि आप आओ, काम करो. Your skill set should be so sharp, and it should be in your control. Like say, a cinematographer, he knows his machine, or a pilot, he knows his machine. He knows कि मैं ये नौ नीचे करूँ ऐसा होगा. यहाँ से, my body is my machine. I need to control that. So that's the funda and works well.
Which stars have inspired you most to watch the screen? Whether love or even memories?
I really enjoy Kangana's work. I think she's an incredible actor. She was.
You're not just saying that because you've played Indra Dance yourself.
No, I've always loved her. You know, when I got Kangan and I once met her at a party, I ran up to her and I said, I'm a huge fan of yours. She's an incredible actor. She was one of the first people in the industry who came from the outside, जिसने बहुत ही अलग फिल्में की है. She's done Queen, she's done Tanu Mere Weds Manu. The kind of roles that, as an actor, a female actor, you're like, oh, I can do that. I can have a film backing on me. So that was really inspiring.
Another not to be one. Is there any real star you work with who you find really inspiring? I don't think you'd say I'm the right away. I mean, that's your.
He's extremely intelligent and his choices of scripts, stories. I think he's changed the industry. Say with Tare Zameen Par, Rang De Basanti, Lagan, the kind of films he's done, they've been the landmarks of our film journey, of our industry. So of course he is there. But I think I've realized with all the people that I've worked with, especially Manoj Bajpayee, AK, Anil Kapoor ji, Bachchan ji, Vijay Verma, Rajkumar Rao, Ali Fazal, and I've worked with such incredible people. They are so good. They are so disciplined. And that's a takeaway that I've taken. That it doesn't matter where you are at in your position as an actor, but you have to carry that.
Well, you're right in the middle of your journey, Fatima, and I hope it remains as inspiring for everyone else. And I had this conversation 10 years later, and someone opposite me will say your name when I who was the most inspiring. Thank you very much. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, Fatima Shaikh.
Thank you. Hello. Only Mayank can call me an administrator. He gets away with it all the time. Thank you so much for an endearing session, Fatima. With Fatima, it was like since last November, I'm trying to get her to come and speak to a hallowed audience.
me allowed in this because half the industry, is here today. So thank you so much for coming. And I love intelligent people. You're one of my favorite. Thank you. And thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
माइक चालू है ना
They will start.
जी सब बदल So hello and so good to see you, ma'am.
हेलो
Firstly, please tell us how's the whole session for you.
बहुत ही अच्छा था होस्ट बहुत ही मॉडरेटर बहुत अच्छे थे इजी सवाल पूछे मुश्किल सवाल नहीं पूछे बट बहुत ही अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है लोगों से मिलने के लिए ऑडियंस से कनेक्ट करने के लिए सो मुझे काफ़ी मज़ा आया
ढेर सारी बातें आपने वहाँ की हमने भी सुनी कुछ यहाँ पे भी अपने दर्शकों को बता दीजिए जब आपने एक्टिंग की शुरुआत नहीं की थी तो उसके पहले आप क्या करती थी फोटोग्राफी के बारे में आपने बताया कुछ
हाँ मैं एक फ़ोटोग्राफर को असिस्ट करती थी तो हम लोग शादियाँ शूट करते थे तो वो काफ़ी समय तक किया फिर उन लोगों ने मुझे निकाल दिया अपने जॉब से क्योंकि मैं ज़्यादा आती नहीं थी क्योंकि मैं ऑडिशन देती थी तो ये हुआ था
व्हाट इज़ द मेन सक्सेस फॉर यू
व्हाट इज़ सक्सेस फॉर मी कुछ नहीं खुशी सब तो ये बोलते हैं पता नहीं कि खुश रहना ही सक्सेसफुल है तो शायद वही होगा
तो जिस तरह से स्ट्रगल आपने किया मैम वो लोग अभी उसी बात पे चल रहे हैं उन लोगों को अगर एक मैसेज देना तो क्या
अगर इंडस्ट्री के लिए है तो मुझे लगता है कि उनको अपने काम पर ध्यान देना चाहिए अपने क्राफ्ट पर ध्यान देना चाहिए नेगेटिव नहीं होना चाहिए ना बिटर होना चाहिए कि दूसरे इंसान को ज़्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ मिल रही है या दूसरा इंसान एक कहीं सिचुएशन से आ रहा है क्योंकि आपका स्ट्रगल ही आपको बनाता है और आपको यूनिक बनाता है अगर आप उससे दूर भागोगे या उससे नाखुश रहोगे तो फिर आप बस एक दुखी इंसान रहोगे
कोई एक फिल्म का अगर आपको नाम को लगे कि वो फिल्म ने करियर चेंज किया आपका पूरा लाइफ चेंज किया
दंगल
दंगल
क्योंकि उसके बाद ही मेरे लिए अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ आई है
सो किस तरीके से आप अपने आगे के प्रोजेक्ट को डिसाइड करते हो
इंस्टिंक्टिवली अगर मैं कोई स्क्रिप्ट पढ़ती हूँ और अगर मुझे स्क्रिप्ट अच्छी लग रही है या मुझे वो किरदार अच्छा लग रहा है या मैं वो डायरेक्टर के साथ काम करना चाहती हूँ तो मैं उस हिसाब से हाँ बोलती हूँ
हु इज योर मेल बेस्ट को एक्टर
एवरीबडी सारे एक्टर्स बहुत अच्छे जिनके साथ भी मैंने काम किया है एनी वन नेम तो नहीं है सबके साथ है
एज एन एक्टर आपको कौन से सामने वाले एक्टर को काम करते हुए देखना पसंद है
आई really enjoy Rajkumar Rao, Manoj Bajpayee ji also. Then even Ali Fazil, Vijay Verma, Nasir ji, ऐसे तो मतलब लिस्ट तो खत्म ही नहीं होती.
Okay, so what is in a pipeline?
अभी तो बहुत सारी रिलीजेस होने वाली है ये साल. आप जैसा कोई मेट्रो इन दिनों उलझुलुल इश्क एक शो भी किया है तो इंशाल्लाह वो भी आएगा और अगले साल ये साल का देखते हैं
कुछ मैसेज देना चाहेंगे दर्शकों को जो ढेर सारा प्यार हमेशा करते हैं
आप लोगों को भी बहुत सारा प्यार और बी काइंड बी नाइस एंड कुछ नहीं बस लोगों को प्यार दो
थैंक यू
दैट्स इट थैंक यू ओके थैंक यू